Hey there, YouTube. Hope you're doing well. And we've had a lot of 2v8 and a lot of Chaos Shuffle. We've had a couple attempts of Lights Out, but honestly, the first time it was kind of cool because it was the first ever modifier. And then the second time, even though it was Castlevania themed, it just really missed the mark. And truthfully, the first time it probably would have as well if 2v8 or Chaos Shuffle came before that. There was also a limited time April Fool's modifier that showed up for a few days and then never returned even on the next April Fool's, which was My Little Oni. That one was fun, but again, it kind of lost its novelty after a few games, so it wasn't really something that was meant to stick around for very long anyway. And I'm not complaining about these modifiers or modes being in Dead by Daylight. Quite the contrary. I've been someone for years that has wanted more modes and modifiers to play in different ways to experience the game. And clearly I'm not the only one. 2v8 is always extended and comes back non-stop because it clearly does well for behavior and it clearly boosts the player count, especially for players who haven't played the game in a while. So despite what some people might want, saying that they hope 2v8 never returns, it's not going anywhere. But Farmer, I hear you shouting, what are you saying all this for? What is the point of the video? And the point really is, I'd like to see more. I know we have Chaos Shuffle and we have 2v8 making consistent returns, and that's great. I like to see that. However, I don't really like that those are the only real attempts they're making. It's just bringing them back over and over. And unfortunately, 2v8 doesn't really get a whole lot of changes from iteration to iteration. Not as many as I'd like to see anyway. I've made a whole video talking about that. And I'm not asking them to make a brand new crazy-ass mode every single month that just blows our socks off and plays completely differently from DBD. But I would like to see some ideas floated kind of from DBD Mobile. If you guys remember Dead by Daylight on mobile, they actually did a lot of mini game modes. I've made multiple videos right here on those modes, and they were extremely fun, and I wish those would come into rotation for at least a few days at a time. Crop Hunt is the simplest and most straightforward mode I can possibly think of that was also done on mobile, and people have even modded the game on normal DBD in order to make it work. So it's definitely possible, and I'm kind of shocked that we haven't seen this as a proper mode showing up yet. They also had an entire playlist on DBD Mobile called the Entities Party, where it was just a bunch of mini games piled into one modifier. You had a bear trap race, you had dodging artist crows while throwing mud piles at each other, you had Simon Says, guard tag from the night where you have guards that chase you and ramp up speed over time and you have to tag it onto someone else, red light green light with Huntress turning around and aiming a hatchet at you. These were all in one playlist and were super fun to play. You could have a leaderboard, you could have cosmetics attached to it, a whole event based around it, store releases, collections, whatever you gotta do in order to monetize it a little bit. But more fun, chaotic, goofy modes like that would add a lot in order to go and vent out the frustration of DBD, take a break from the main mode while still having something within it in order to earn a little bit of blood points, earn a few shards, and grind for maybe a couple cosmetic. And the beautiful part is, I don't think these kind of modes, like the ones from the Entities Party or Prop Hunt, would really hurt queue times, because at the end of the day, a lot of people move over to 2v8 and don't even play 1v4 when it comes out. There are people that only return to Dead by Daylight to play 2v8. These silly mini games wouldn't really be a replacement for Dead by Daylight as a whole or 1v4 as a whole. It would just be a funny little party mode or a funny little mini game to go over and play whenever you're a little bit burnt out on the normal mode, but you just want to stay in the game and maybe earn a little bit more towards it, take a little break, and then come back. And don't get me wrong, I would like to see bigger, more full-fledged modes coming to Dead by Daylight as well, similar to how 2v8 is. I know in a survey they did a while ago asking about this very thing, 5v5 with one killer per team was a very big idea, completing generators on each side and seeing who could win first. An Among Us style mode where there's a killer that nobody knows and you have to figure it out, or maybe even an infection mode where one person starts as the killer and you slowly turn everyone else into one, very similar to how it works in Halo with the infection mode. But I recognize those are big tasks and big modes to try and create. You might need to make unique maps for them, etc., etc. So I get that part is going to be a little bit heftier of a task, which is why adding the mini games that have already been created and already have a template, even if you can't port them over one-to-one, you can at least look directly at them and recreate them, is a great start in order to add more modes and modifiers to Dead by Daylight. Because again, I like Chaos Shuffle and I like 2v8. They're both very fun. But whenever they're coming back every month with basically little to no changes, and there's nothing new on the horizon when a new mode comes up, I'd rather they just kept them away for a little bit longer, especially because the modes that they have settled on bringing back time and time again do mess up the cues of the normal game a little bit. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in the comments what modes and modifiers you'd like to see added to Dead by Daylight. Try to keep it realistic. They're not going to add Call of Duty, but Dead by Daylight themed, so try to at least keep it within the realm of reason. But I just wanted to yap a little bit about the modes and modifiers and how they're a little underutilized and started to get a little repetitive, at least in my opinion, because nothing's really changing between them, and there's only a couple that are on rotation. This isn't a video against the modifiers and modes currently rotating in the game. This is a video for more and more changes to those modes and modifiers. I'm just hoping that they don't accidentally delete Wraith or Trapper from the game when they try to add these modes in. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your ideas in the comments like I said before, and thanks for listening to me yap. Bye-bye.